Namaste, everyone. ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Monday evening. I hope you had a great weekend. You ran into cool people, you had cool conversations, cool experiences, you learned something, you picked up another nugget, something to move your life forward, your personal life, your professional life, because hey, we're all in it together. So I want to jump on tonight and share a story that I think pretty much anyone could relate to and anyone could benefit from. There might be a couple parts that you might have a hard time relating to, but I'll give you the backstory and I'll do my best to evoke some of my Irish heritage of being witty and telling a comical story and keeping everybody engaged with the process. So for those of you who are logging on for the very first time and watching one of these streams, we typically do these every evening, except Tuesday nights and Sunday morning. So Tuesday night from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. we do a live Twin Hearts meditation where we have hundreds of people from all over the world come together to meditate as a group. And then on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Time, we do a live Twin Hearts meditation. Same principle, right? And it's a great opportunity for us all to come together, to evolve together, to have more inner peace, happiness, and joy together. And then the other nights, I pretty much jump on and come up with a topic around, well, we pretty much cover three major topics: energy healing, meditation, and practical spirituality. Those are the three things that we typically work with on these streams. And so I'm always trying to figure out, all right, well, what's an interesting story connected to those three topics that we could kind of like dive into a little bit. So I was thinking about one of my most favorite stories because we're approaching Valentine's. Denise, Atma Namaste. We're approaching Valentine's Day, and everybody has relationships on the brain, or maybe on the heart, which is actually kind of a good segue. So, relationships on the brain, being single on the brain, who am I going to go, am I going to find my partner, soulmate, all these like different things we have going on in our heads around this time of the year, right? Because we're in the collective consciousness of the country that February 14th, everybody gets together with their most beloved person. They spend high quality time with each other. So I was thinking, well, what's an experience that I've had with love in my life that is a little bit unique, but I think each and every person is really deep down craving that. And so I want to share a story with you. What's up, Joe? I want to share a story with you guys. Hey, Nicole, that I think will be very interesting for you. Hey, Sarah, Atma Namaste. And so, for those of you who do not know, I live in Denver, Colorado. And at the time where I was living in Denver, I was living next to this place called Sloan's Lake. You can actually go online, go to Google, type in Sloan's Lake, Denver, Colorado, and you'll see some of the pictures of this lake. It is gorgeous. It's about a 2.2 mile walk around this lake, right? And so you get people that they're doing everything. They're doing longboarding, they're doing roller skating, they're walking their dogs, they're doing strolling with their kids. Couples are walking, singles are walking. Hey Heather, Atma Namaste. Athletes are getting after it. So everyone's mixing it up at Sloan's Lake. And I lived only a block and a half from Sloan's Lake at the time. So any time of the year, I could just walk out my front door, take a left, go a block and a half down, and I'm already at Sloan's Lake. And I don't know about you, a big reason as to why I moved out to Denver, Colorado a little over 5 years ago is because the nature. It's 300 days of sunshine. There's over 50 mountains that are 14,000 feet or higher above sea level. It's the fittest state in the country. So there's a lot of good things that go on in Colorado. So I love being out in nature. And for those of you who do not know, energetically, being out in nature is very, very good because we get to absorb solar prana, or energy from the sun. We get to absorb air prana, energy from the air around us. And then we get to absorb ground prana, the energy emanating and coming up from Mother Earth. So when you're outside walking around, you have the access to all these energies, and it's just amazing. So I don't care. I would go out in the middle of the winter time to walk around Sloan's Lake. I'd go at like 2 o'clock in the morning to walk around Sloan's Lake. You see some very interesting people walking around Sloan's Lake at 2 o'clock in the morning. And maybe people were thinking that about me as well. So there was a time in my life, hey Lisa, Namaste, there was a time in my life that I was in need of healing, and I couldn't put my finger on it. You ever have a sticking point or blind spot in your life and you just can't see the forest through the trees? You're like, all right, I'm stuck, but I don't know how to get unstuck. I can't identify what's not working, right? So I tried to humble myself, and I reached out to some senior pranic healing practitioners, and I said, guys, this is my sticking point. This is what I'm going through. Here are my symptoms. What do you think I should do? And they said, Kundalini syndrome. Now, for those of you who do not know, the term Kundalini syndrome is a term, hey Jenny, Namaste, was a term that was coined by Grandmaster Chola Koksui, the gentleman behind me, the founder of modern pranic healing and Arhatic yoga. And Kundalini syndrome simply means through one's life or through one's spiritual practice, they are having more Kundalini energy coming up in their systems than they have divine energy coming down their systems. So what it's doing is it's stirring up, Bruno, Namaste, it's stirring up or agitating the ancient seeds within our system. So to give you the metaphor, if you have a plot of land and there's no grass on it, and you pour fertilizer all over the plot of land, is it only going to grow the grass? No, it's also going to grow the weeds, because we don't know what's inside the soil. So just like our energy bodies, we don't know what kind of seeds we have from previous incarnations. It could be seeds of greed, it could be seeds of anger, it could be seeds of excessive sexual lust, it could be seeds of self-delusion, it could be all kinds of seeds. Now, all the seeds aren't bad, but if you look at the lifespan of what we accumulate, it's probably not all cupcakes, ding-dongs, and rainbows, right? There's probably some not so good thoughts, not so good words, not so good emotions, and not so good actions we have generated through each and every lifetime. So, as we awaken to the spiritual path and Kundalini energy starts coming up our spine, awakening the energy within us, it's going to fertilize and magnify those seeds within us. So Kundalini syndrome, as Master Chola Koksui talks about, is basically the rapid evolution of certain physical, financial, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects. And usually it's not so good, right? So think about anger, right? If you had an angry moment, how long does it take you to get over it? Probably a few minutes, maybe a couple hours, and then you're fine. Now, magnify that anger by a factor of 10 and then have it last for weeks. That would be an example of Kundalini syndrome on an emotional level. You're so angry and you just can't control it, right? Because you're purging. This is a whole other conversation. I'm just kind of giving you a little nugget. So, I was going through my own accelerated growth. I was going through my own negative weeds coming up in my system, and I wasn't quite sure how to handle them. So when I reached out to the senior practitioners, they gave me a homework assignment. They go, do this homework assignment for the next 40 days. And I was like, okay, I got this. I can do this homework assignment. Looks simple, looks easy. So all of a sudden, I'm a couple weeks into the homework assignment, and I'm feeling really good. Like all the symptoms, the irritability, the anger, the hot itchiness all over the body, all of those things are going away. I was like, wow, okay, so the homework assignment is helping. Perfect. And I said, you know what, but my mind is still racing. I still have these like thoughts that just won't get out of my head, like super, super fast, like almost dominating me. You ever, for those of people who've tried meditation for the first time, or hey, Kate, how are you? For those people who've been meditating or tried meditation, have you noticed that when you sit, you close your eyes, all of a sudden the thoughts start coming, all the errands you have to do, the phone calls that you have to make, the people you have to follow up with. And it's like, I just want to sit here and meditate and be still, but all these thoughts are racing in your head, or people call it the monkey mind. So I was having all these thoughts, and I've had these racing thoughts most of my life because my mind is very like quick. It goes from this idea to that idea, this idea, that idea, this idea, right? Always thinking super fast, right? Like 4 things at one time. So I was like, well, I think one of the byproducts or side effects of doing this homework assignment is going to calm my mind, hopefully. So I was doing my practice or doing my homework assignment in my apartment, and I said, you know what? For today, instead of doing my homework assignment in my apartment, I'm going to leave my apartment, I'm going to walk a block and a half, and I'm going to go to Sloan's Lake. That's what I'm going to do. So then I go out. It's what time? It was fall time. It was fall, so I didn't have to dress too warm. So I walk outside and I start walking around my usual path. Right, there's people walking their dogs. There's moms and fathers pushing their children in the strollers. There's the teenage couple that is so adorable. But in general, I just kind of like do my thing. I just walk. I have my headphones on and I'm listening to a certain mantra by my teacher. So as I'm listening to the mantra, I'm chanting. As I hear his mantra, then I'm chanting the mantra, and I hear his mantra, and I'm chanting the mantra. I'm just getting into a nice groove. Nothing major, just doing a little bit of my homework. And then as I'm walking around the lake, step by step, something happens. Something happens. There's a click. Paula, Atma Namaste. There's a click. I literally hear a click inside my head, and all of a sudden that mind chatter that I was talking about, that incessant mental activity, constantly going from this idea, this concept, that concept, this construct, this belief, that belief, all these things that you're constantly aware of, all of a sudden it becomes super still and super quiet. No thought. Like no thought. And then all of a sudden I'm shifting, and I feel my awareness, right? This isn't a mental thought process I'm having. I'm simply sensing my awareness going from all the thinking that was going on. Hey, Erica, Abba Namaste. And then it goes right into my heart. For those of you who do not know, there are things called chakras or energy centers that are located all over the body. And each chakra has a physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual aspect or component to them. So in the center of the chest, we have what is known as the heart chakra. It's in between the nipples and the center of the chest. The heart chakra deals with love, sweetness, tenderness, joy, compassion, right? It's the higher, more refined emotions that we can experience. So as my awareness is shifting from thinking, it's going into the heart chakra, and then all of a sudden, I feel this unbelievable, Meg, Atma Namaste, good to have you on. I feel this unbelievable love just exploding deep within me that was overwhelming. It's like all the people who are walking around Sloan's Lake just disappeared and became one. And it was like there was an amazing experience of oneness with the lake, with the individuals. Like there weren't individuals anymore. And the mental chatter, gone. And right then and there, I had a profound experience of love, of loving myself, the little self, the higher self, loving the environment, loving all the people within the environment. And for a person, Daniel, Atma Namaste, for a person who is super mental, and at the time very critical, very judgmental, and very, I don't want to say cynical, because that's not really the word, but very critical and very judgmental, all of that chatter of pros and cons, black and white, contrasting constantly, because that's what the mental body does. That's what it's designed to do, right? All of it stopped. there was only oneness. There was only stillness. There was only an essence of love. And it was such a beautiful experience. And hopefully some of you who are sensitive can tap into the energies, because I'm doing my best to go back to that moment in time and to tap into it. Because it was so beautiful. It was so lovely and wonderful. Erica, Atma Namaste. 2 Ericas on the same stream. I didn't think that was possible. So that was one of the most profound moments of my life. And for those of you who have done any kind of spiritual work, any kind of meditation practice, if you've done dream interpretation, I recommend whenever you have a high level spiritual experience, Ericas do rock for show. I've known a lot of them in my life. I love Ericas. I recommend you write it down. Again, Minnie, Atma Namaste, you're late to the party. What's going on? Whenever you have a high level spiritual experience, I recommend that you write it down. Because what you're doing is you're taking a very, very, very subtle, refined experience, and by writing it down, you're physicalizing the experience. You're stepping it down. You're making it more tangible and easier to access and go higher your next spiritual experience. So, for instance, you have dreams, right? If you wake up in the middle of the night and you write your dream out, or first thing in the morning you write your dream out, what you're doing is you're training your brain to be able to register the higher frequencies of what you're dreaming. So your dreams will become even more vivid, more clear, and you'll be able to extrapolate more energy and more information from those dreams. So that was one of my highest spiritual experiences of my life at the time, being able to access such a deep, profound love. And why? Because I was going through a very tough time in my life. I reached out to senior pranic healers and I said, what can I do right now to move my life forward and to overcome this intense healing process that I was going through? Denise says, craziest dreams last night. No kidding. And they were, okay. Doing online counseling. God, what aren't you doing, Minnie? So Sarah, Atma Namaste. So it sounds like Denise had an emotionally turmoil experience. By the way, in her dreams, we process our emotions in our dreams, because when we go to sleep, we close our eyes and we put our head on a comfortable soft pillow, a large portion, not all of it, a large portion of our consciousness shifts from our physical reality, right? And it shifts into the astral plane, or I should say the astral body, or the emotional body, which is the vehicle your consciousness uses to travel in the astral plane, right? The mental body is what our consciousness uses to travel on the mental plane. It's like a car, right? You get into one car to drive in one way, and then you get into another car to drive another way, right? Totes, working out some lack of control. Yeah. So when we dream, a large portion of our consciousness goes from the physical body into the emotional body. We travel around in the emotional plane and we learn lessons, we have experiences, we're taught, we get healing, things like that. So it's a beautiful place. There's a whole form of yoga called dream yoga that's taught by Tibetan yogis, because they said, well, if we spend a third of our lives sleeping, wouldn't it make sense to develop the ability to consciously do service or do work or to learn while our bodies are sleeping, right? Wouldn't that help evolve the soul even faster? Because, of course, the Tibetans have figured out many, many things that the Western world is still trying to catch up to. So I am supremely grateful and supremely honored by the assistance that my fellow pranic healers were able to give me at that time in my life that really, truly, genuinely transformed my life in a very profound way. It made me more present. It made me more loving. It made me less critical of myself and less critical of other people. just by doing a simple homework assignment for a 40-day period. I mean, think about that for a second, guys. We go to school, Rashmi Atma Namaste, we go to school for 4 years. And for those of us who got higher education, much longer. And at the end of that, have we mastered our emotions? Have we mastered our ability to critically think? Have we mastered, like, when I'm having a bad day and I'm angry at somebody, what do I do? None of those skills are taught. But within a 40-day period, I was able to practice something that transformed my life, that has made the quality of each and every day of my life since that moment that much better. And then it's allowed me to be a better instrument of healing and goodwill for other people. It blows my mind, if you have the right technique with the right energy and the right power, how you can transform your life. So, speaking of, some of you may have seen the post, some of you may not have seen the post. It's right below this video if you're on Facebook. So this coming Saturday, February 10th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 2 hours, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're going to be doing an event on love. So we're going to talk about the science of love, we're going to talk about the energy of love, and then we're going to be doing a relationship healing on love. Shannon, Adva Namaste. So this will be an event unlike anything that you've ever been to. It's all online. As you guys have figured out by now, 99% of everything that I do these days is online. Just because it's simpler, we can reach a broader audience, nobody has to get stuck in traffic. So this event is going to be running from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're going to cover, it's going to be a lecture, a meditation, and a healing. And it's going to be $40 investment, which you guys who have hired me for individual one-on-one healing, you know that's a steal, as well as for the group coaching, that's a steal. But it's an opportunity to give people exposure to the work that we do, how we do it, how it can benefit your life, and it's, I mean, I can guarantee you unequivocally it'll be worth it. If you don't think it was worth it at the end of the 2 hours, I'll be sure to give you your $40 back. Because for me, it's about exposing you to these energies, which are unbelievable. Pedro, Atma Namaste, long time, son. Exposing you guys to these energies. Sir, one-to-one relationship healing. Yeah, so we'll be doing this in a group setting. So we're going to be doing it over Zoom. For those of you who do not know what Zoom is like the grown-up version of Skype. Very simple to use. You download it for free. And then for those of you who register, I simply send you the Zoom code. You log on, and then we're ready to go. You don't have to physically, you don't have to have your camera working if you choose not to. You can turn your camera off and just watch the speaker, which would be me, visually. But it's going to be 2 hours of of theoretical and experiential. Theoretical and experiential. So it'll be super, super deep, rich, rewarding. And this doesn't matter if you're a couple, if you're single, because you're going to get tools and techniques and practices that you can immediately implement into your life to improve the relationship with yourself and improve the relationship with other people. So that's something we're going to be doing this coming Saturday, which I thought was a good time considering our international audience. That's a good time for most people to log on. 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mountain Time. What else? But that's pretty much the nutshell for today. I just wanted to share that story of my experience with love and that very precious and very sacred moment in my life, walking around Sloan's Lake. Minnie says, how do we do payment? So the payment's very simple. I'll leave a link for you guys, but the payment's actually very simple. You just go to paypal.com and you type in to pay, you just go ChristianRLong@gmail. That's my email. ChristianRLong@gmail. And then you just put in $40. And that's it. Super easy. How to increase internal conductivity. So if you guys have any questions, I'll get to that in a second, Rashmi. For any of you who have any questions about what we covered tonight on love, I'm like blissed out right now. See, when you connect to good things. That was my story about love. That's the event that we're going to be doing this coming Saturday. And he says, it's for non-pranic healers also. Yes, this event is for pranic healers, non-pranic healers, and arhatic yogis. All you do is have to be a person who wants to increase your ability to experience love and increase your ability to give love. And we'll be covering that and the dynamics of relationships. Put a lot of effort and energy into this class. So Rashmi asked the question, how to increase internal conductivity? How to increase internal conductivity. So for those of you who have ever experienced energy healing before, a big factor that determines, one of the 6 major factors that determines whether somebody is healed instantaneously from a certain ailment or condition, or whether the person is never healed of that condition, or a prolonged period of time, is one's internal conductivity. So what does that mean? If you have a current going through a chopped up copper wire that's all frayed, the current is not going to be able to efficiently and effectively go from one point to another point, right? Because the copper wire is not very conductive. Now, if that copper wire is fixed, the current will flow better, and if the copper wire turns into a golden wire, it'll flow even better, right? So just like the copper wire and the gold wire, we want to be gold in our own lives. And a way that we can be more gold or more conductive to spiritual energies versus electrical energies going through us is by having gratitude and appreciation. I know it sounds simple, but most spiritual teachings are very simple, but they require a deep level of understanding and then consistent application of that understanding. So if you were to sit down in front of a healer, let's say you had a migraine headache, and internally you're going, this is never going to work, this is never going to work, this is never going to work, I'm going to prove this person wrong, I'm going to hold on to this migraine headache for as long as possible, this person's not a very good healer, I don't deserve to be healed, right? And all of this stuff that we start saying in our heads, that means we are not mentally conductive to the healing. Or we're about to get the healing and we're very frustrated, very angry, very pent up inside. We're not emotionally conductive to being healed. What if you sit down in a chair right before a healing session and you cross your arms and you say, okay, I'm ready for the healing? You're not physically conductive. So in pranic healing, we're taught several techniques to help facilitate the person to be more conductive to their own healing. Right? Because the constant is the voltage. Right? If you have 80 volts going from one end of a wire to another end, the current is consistent. It's 80 volts, right? What's the variable is the conductivity of the wire. So it's not about is God love, is God light, is God power. It's are we conductive to God's light, to God's love, and to God's power. My teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, gives a beautiful analogy. He says, the love of God and the love of the teacher is like the sun. The sun is always shining. We, because we have free will, can choose to pull up the drapes or blinds or pull down the blinds. So we can let the sun in or we can keep the sun out. So we can let in the blessings of God or we can keep out the blessings of God. We can let in the intelligence of God or we can keep out the intelligence of God. We have that choice each and every moment of our lives to do that. So, by having appreciation, by having gratitude, by having respect for the person that is working with us in our healing process, we're able to transform our lives. We're able to get the healing that we require. So, for instance, at that time in my life, at the beginning of this story, of me needing healing because of what I was going through, if they gave me the homework, hey Kelly, Adma Namaste, if they gave me the homework assignment and I said, nah, I don't like those homework assignments. Give me another homework assignment. That would be an indicator that I was not internally conductive and receptive to the homework, which ultimately transformed my life for the better in less than 40 days. Right? So when people come to me for healing, that's the thing I'm always looking for is, are they internally conductive? Are they internally receptive to receiving healing? So sometimes what I do is I give people little tiny homework assignments, little itty bitty baby homework assignments to, one, test their level of receptivity and conductivity, and two, to increase, hey Marty, Abba Namaste, to increase their conductivity and receptivity to healing. And if the person doesn't, Connie, Atma Namaste, if the person doesn't go through with the little test, then I know that they're not conductive, then they're not receptive, then they're not going to be a person that it would be worth it to them to come for healing or to work with me. But if somebody goes, I need healing and I'm willing to do anything at all to move my life forward, they put down money, they put down time commitment, they put down an energy commitment, they do their homework assignments on time and properly, and then what do you know? Surprise, surprise, they transform and their lives improve. So I'm always looking for people who are receptive to being healed. If they're not receptive to being healed, it's going to be a much, much longer journey for me and for them, right? So that's why in the world of what we do in energy healing and meditation and practical spirituality, you can't really sell it. You can't really do the hard, hey Bethany, Atma Namaste, you can't do the hard sell in this world, because as soon as the hard sell comes on, people's chakra systems, certain chakras become activated, like they're ready to fight, and other chakras close down, right? So if my objective as a professional healer is to assist that person to bring them from where they are to where they want to be in their life, I have to be very careful with how I use my energy to help them, right? Because if you're forceful, the chakras close. If you're loving and kind, the chakras stay open and they allow the energy to come in, right? Have you ever been in an argument with somebody and you're trying to prove your point over their point, and you're pushing on them and they're pushing back, and you're pushing on them and they're pushing back, and at the end of the argument, both people walk away with the same original views they had? Nothing has changed because you're going like this. We'll talk about this actually in the class on Saturday, but that's kind of what's happening. Guys are headbutting each other. It doesn't work. It's not effective. Master Choa calls it fighting without fighting. Use love. So I hope that answers your question, Rashmi. What other questions do you guys have about what we covered today, about the class we're going to be doing this coming Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on love? Balarama, Atma Namaste. Good to have you on. And I'm here to answer any questions you guys have. And that's a $40 class, $40 investment on your part, so you have some skin in the game, so you get value out of it, because we find out when we do things for free, in general, people don't value them. Who would have thought? What else? And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to put a link in the comment section for those of you who are ready to sign up for the class. I mean, we have enough spaces. It's not unlimited, but we have enough spaces to accommodate most people who are part of the streams on a regular basis. And that's it. So it's been an honor connecting with you guys this evening. I'm about ready to make some dinner. Still blissed out from my story earlier. If you missed it, definitely watch the replay. I'm just honored to share the teacher's teachings with you guys, so it improves the quality of your life. So that's it. Thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Pedro, thanks for the hearts, because we are approaching Valentine's Day. We don't have to have Valentine's Day to be in a loving space, but it helps as a catalyst to get us into a loving space. So that being said, love you guys. This is Christian R. Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful Monday, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma. Namaste. Bye-bye.